Here we go.
There we go. We are live finally. Sorry for the delay, folks, but we had a little internet problem this morning. The Supreme Court is pushing all the buttons, so they didn't want to let yours truly and him truly on, it seems.
Clarence Thomas said we have to clear what you're going to say from now on, or else there's no more broadcasting. And this is the day when Vinnie and I both regret that we never finished law school. Yeah, we went. We just didn't finish.
Just didn't finish. I mean, I passed it. I passed Cooper Union. I can't tell you how many times.
It's easy to pass Cooper Union, not as easy to pass the bar. That's what.
Yeah. You can pass Cooper Union simply just by walking down 6th Street. But
You should have gone to NYU Law School. I should have gone to University of Miami Law School. We went. We just didn't finish.
we just didn't finish. We went one day and we said, "Boy, you mean that smell from Washington Square Park
It's
is
coming out of the law school.
is in the law school? Gee, I'm gonna go over and see what's going on there." And that was it for me. Um, in case you hadn't heard this morning, the Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court, ruled. I mean, I would have to say pretty much in favor of Donald Trump.
Totally in
Uh,
favor of Donald Trump. Going so far as to say you can't introduce evidence against a president.
yeah, you have to. Yeah, you have to jump through a number of legal hoops. That there are some things that the president can do that he is immune for when he's acting as the president. The problem is, how do you separate those things? How do you say, well, this was done as president and this was done as as a private citizen?
It's
I
the
don't.
difference between his acts as a citizen and his duties as a president. And if you have evidence that he did something as an individual citizen while he was president that was against the law, that's evidence that you cannot introduce because he's the president.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, you really do have to be a lawyer to be able to figure it out. And what it means in the short term, I think, is that he's going to get away with what he's convicted on. What he's convicted on. You
He'll
got to
never
hope
face it.
that doesn't go away.
He'll never face another trial.
And yeah, he's just above justice.
And should he be disappointed with the vote in France, he can assassinate the prime minister over there, Macron, not face any crime for it. In fact, it'll be endorsed and underlined and thanked for in advance by the Supreme Court. It's a If you ever come in on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and Mikey and Vinny aren't here, you can be sure that Donald Trump had his put away, and there's nothing anybody on the planet can do about it, including our lawyers.
Well, and even further than that, Michael, what does it mean for the rule of law? I mean, this country runs on the rule of law for the most
Not
part.
not anymore.
Everybody is supposed to respect the law. Most of all, the president.
Most of all, the Supreme Court.
When we talk about role models, when we talk about people who are supposed to make the law run, it's supposed to be the people that we look at and look to and say, you're the leaders of this country. You are the people that we need to make this country run right.
Not anymore.
How do you it's just an endorsement of everything that says, well, if I don't like the law, I'm just going to change it.
Or if I
If
don't
I
like
don't
the
like the
if I
law,
don't
I'm
like
not
the
going to listen to it.
if I don't like the results of the election, I'm not going to count them. We're just going to
Right.
push by that.
Which they're already saying, which they're
Well,
all,
no.
well, if we don't like it, we're going to do this, we're going to do
All they
that.
need is the Joint Chiefs of Staff to go along with them, and there's nothing we can do to stop them. Will the Joint Chiefs obey the president because he's commander in chief, or will they obey the law? What will the Joint Chiefs do?
Depends on who you got there. So far, luckily,
Because right now the legal system is not going to help us, so it has to be the military that's going to rescue us from despotism.
and I know that there are people who are listening who are, I'm sure, are saying, well, it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, I'm going to get in my truck and I'm going to go to work this morning and I'm going to go hammer nails in or put stickers on the sides of trucks or,
Well, we can confiscate all the
doors
trucks.
in or do whatever I do, and it doesn't matter to me. But it does matter.
The president can call all the trucks. I will call them unto me. All trucks come to me. You have one day.
Well, he, you know, the president can say, "Well, I want to tax you 50%." I mean, it's the exact thing that the country was founded on
To
is
prevent.
a freedom from tyranny, freedom from a monarchy, freedom from one person saying that
And
this is
doing
what is supposed to happen.
by caveat, by fiat, by the wishes of the king.
And we now have a situation where you have somebody who's running for king. Make no mistake about it.
And
If
telling
you
you he's
think
going to
he's
be
going to
king.
leave when his 4 years are up, you're out of your mind.
The funny thing about this, Vinny, is none of this is in the Constitution. The Supreme Court is supposed to interpret and reinforce the meanings of the founders, the framers, the men who put together this country in terms of putting it on paper. What do we stand for? What do we believe? How do we go about our business? And this is King George III with a blue suit and a red tie and an orange face.
Yeah, I
and and the Chief Justice, who I thought I had some respect for, is the one who said, "No, you can't introduce evidence because evidence is going to make this more difficult to enforce. So keep your evidence. It's very interesting in other cases, but not in this one. No evidence shall be introduced. Sorry, but I have evidence. Well,
well,
look at the
put
law.
the box
Our
somewhere, and
look at our decision. Our decision says that evidence is useless. No,
maybe
you may have some, but you may not introduce it.
yeah, maybe when we start up the new country, where the Christian nationalists don't run things. Maybe when we start up a new country that says that all people are created equal, maybe we start up a new country that has so many things going for it. Maybe we'll be able to use some of it then. But right now, you can just put your evidence in those little evidence envelopes and put a magic marker mark on it.
Put it in a
Have a witness,
lockbox.
you put it in there,
Put it in there.
and that's it.
That's the end of it. It's so much
Put the
better.
box, send it
Don't you
down
think
to
it's so much easier this way? It's so much
yeah,
quicker and
send
more
it down to
efficient
the
this way.
city archivist down there on Jerelman Street in Brooklyn. Send it down there and keep it for the records.
They can file it or they can toss it. It doesn't make any difference.
If it's drugs, I'm sure they'll take a little to sample it
Now, drugs are different.
to
Drugs are
make
illegal in
sure that it's
Texas.
okay. It's
The fascinating thing about this is it's given Joe Biden a great element to run on if he was a vital force for the presidency, but apparently only 25% of the people want him to run now. But his family got together and said, "Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to tell him to run. It's his choice, but we're saying we endorse your running." And what about the guys who put him up on the debate stage? You going to fire any of them? Don't think so.
yeah, I don't know who's responsible for that, but they
Did
ought to
you
be
see the
charged.
interview with Bob Woodward? Bob Woodward was on some network. I can't recall which one. Doesn't matter. His comment was, "Don't wait for me to write a book to find out what really happened on debate night. We've got to know who made those decisions, what condition he was really in, what was wrong with the president, what was wrong with the people who let him get on stage, what was wrong with the entire evening. Who was responsible for it? We must know, and don't wait for me to write the book. We've got to know this
Well,
week."
my only problem with that is that I've lost a lot of respect for Bob Woodward because he seemed to know a lot of things and held them all until he wrote the book.
Well, you're right about that.
And some deeply disturbing things, like how nuts Trump really is, or was at least at that time that he interviewed him, and he knew this stuff, but he didn't. Seems like he didn't go to anybody and say, "Well, listen, I think you guys got a problem here. You ought to look into this. This guy is nuts."
Well, there was no one to tell when you think about it. You could tell the New York Times, but you can't tell anybody working for Trump because they weren't listening to him. he was telling them what to do. Before you tell me what to do, I want to tell you what to tell me.
Yeah, I, you have to think that some articles. I mean, if you would have went and wrote a story for the Washington Post or the New York Times or somebody with that kind of information would have printed it. Would have at least got Maggie Haberman together with him, and said, "Listen to this guy. He's Bob
Confirm
Woodward.
this.
Right? What he's, you know." I don't know. I don't know how it all works, but it seemed to me that waiting until you released your book to tell us what these problems were um, was a bit disrespectful to the people who suffered under these problems, especially the people who died from COVID.
Well, don't you think the Bush administration or the Bush campaign knew those things or surmised? It wasn't. I don't know if it was a secret.
Well, yeah, but Woodward was an eyewitness to it.
And you're a witness, yeah.
You
You're
know,
right.
I mean, again, and it just made me lose a lot of respect for him. I mean, I realize what he's done, and I realize, that he's a great journalist and this and that. But when do you stop becoming a journalist and start becoming somebody who has information
A citizen.
that has to do with the security of the country, and that becomes more important than you writing a book or an article?
The security of the country now is in limbo
Where is it? Yeah.
as of the decision this morning. The Supreme Court is saying the Constitution was wonderful. It's very nice. We've read it, and you should read it. But these rulings that we're coming up with now are not part of that Constitution. This is new territory. We're
Yeah.
striking out in a new direction. And we're
Hope you
giving the
guys
president.
enjoyed America, because it ain't no more.
It ain't no more. Not anymore. That's the phrase to apply to everything that you knew from yesterday to today. Not anymore.
It ain't no more.
The Giants will always win 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers. It
It ain't no
happened.
more.
It ain't no more.
So what does the average citizen? What does
Well,
the average
As
person
Donald Trump
do
likes to say, Vinny, give it back to the states. So I'm living in California, you're living in Washington. We're part of the Western Alliance. We're not going to be ruled by, affected by, trampled by, or oppressed by those rules. You can come to California and try and take it away. Good luck. Good luck landing at LAX. There'll be times where there'll be places where the president can't travel because he'll be blown out of the air wherever he goes. It'll be open rebellion.
I I thought it was part of my duty. I thought it was part of my official duty to
He was
fire
coming
upon the
in.
people of California.
He was coming in low over LAX. We took him out.
I mean, I hate to be all gloom and doom about it, but
Ain't nothing
I,
cheerful about this decision.
yeah, it just doesn't seem to me to be in any shape, manner, or form something that you can look at and say. Now, I know that there's legal people saying, "Well, it's not as bad as it looks," and this and that.
Yes, it is.
When you have somebody who can do things without consequence,
Bad things are going to happen.
yeah, things are not going to go smoothly.
You've worked in radio stations for managers who have complete control. They make bad decisions, nobody corrects them. They make bad decisions, nobody calls them on it. They make financially troublesome decisions, and nobody tries to correct them. Nothing good is going to happen under that environment. Nothing good will ever transpire.
And where are all those radio stations now?
Well, they're either owned by iHeartRadio or they're off the air.
Yeah, all of those stations are either shadows of their former selves, or gone to the great call letter graveyard in the sky.
Or both, like KGO.
Yeah. I mean, here's
And KSFO.
The number one. I mean, for years and years and years. And they came in and they figured out how to screw it up.
We can take this apart. We can take this apart in a hurry.
it wasn't easy to figure out how to screw this up. You really had to get to work and think about it.
They found out where all the parts were and they threw the parts away. They didn't replace them. And even then, it lasted for a while.
It lasted on the reputation of 3 letters, KGO.
Yep. People
And
couldn't
then all
believe
of a
it sucked
sudden,
his back. Yeah.
one day,
And
somebody
all
said,
their sister stations have been WABC, WLS, KABC, all of them right down the Toity.
all of them down the drain. All of them down the drain.
Think you can buy a spot on KABC this morning? You could probably buy it now and get it on in the next half hour.
Yeah, you can pretty much, and you can get it for $1 a holler. It I just feel like I can't help but feeling like something was taken from us this morning.
Well, the rule of evidence, the rule of law, the idea that everybody has to face the law. The rule you said we live under the rule of law. We live under the idea that everyone's responsible to the rule of law, the letter of the law, the black letter law. And now, not anymore.
Yeah, if you don't have that, what do you have? What's to stop people from going out in the street and killing people? What's to stop people from not liking your neighbor, so you go and take a gun and you blow his head off? What's to stop that?
I did it in the name of the king.
Now, it'll take a while till it filters down, or it may not. It may happen real fast.
Wait till we see it in action. We won't know the full extent of our troubles until the election. 130 days.
It will make people act totally different than you think they're gonna. It
Joe Biden could run against this if he had anything in the way of a campaign to talk about, if he had any subject, any effort, any results that he could point to. But all they've got is the debate and his mumbling incoherence. And the fact that Kamala Harris is obviously viewed by the party as some sort of a pariah, not welcome,
not ready for prime time,
not ready,
and they just don't seem to have a lot of people on the bench ready to go. I mean, again, they got a couple of governors.
Nobody wants to get involved. Nobody wants to be the one.
Well,
except Joe Manchin.
Yeah. Who in the world today would want this job? To be really honest with you.
Well, it's a good job now that there are no rules involved.
Yeah. I guess it's a better job this morning than it was last night.
There's no constraints. You might as well take the job.
But who would want to have their life pried into like you would have to if you're a presidential candidate? Who would want to have every bed sheet in your closet pulled out and ruffled upside down to see what falls out?
Well, Donald Trump didn't even ever turn in his tax returns. You can run privately if you just refuse.
Yeah. He's Donnie from Queens.
Donnie from Queens, the Teflon Don of all Teflon Dons.
It's almost like you got to ask yourself, what position would John Gotti hold in his cabinet?
Chief of Staff.
Well, that's how he runs it. I mean, that's how it's run. It's run like not a government, but it's run like a mafia family. And they speak about the mob in glowing terms.
I thought the day was going to be depressing as it was. My daughter's dog, Black Lab, being put down today. 10 great years. Teddy, the wonderful Black Lab, named after Ted Williams, the great slugger for the Red Sox. Born in Pittsburgh, raised in California. She has a tumor, has to go down. Today is her last day. We saw her this weekend. All the family came around and had a goodbye, Teddy. And I thought that was going to be the low part of the day. But now, Teddy's death comes in glorious comparison to what the Supreme Court has done, which is another kind of death, another kind of forced euthanasia.
Yeah, at least Teddy doesn't know what's coming, right?
The Constitution gets pushed to sleep. the rule of law gets put to sleep, and the evil dictator gets reinforced to do his worst and to do it without constraints. I'm uh, I'm not. It's been downhill since the debate, and truly, if we're watching the end of days, get the Christians to say that we're all getting ready for the rapture, because this bullshit is come at the wrong time, to the wrong place, and I can't stress often enough how the rest of the world is in neutral right now, waiting for the results.
Well,
The
I
rest of
think
the world is
that's
saying we're gonna wait. We're just gonna wait and see.
yeah, I
Gonna
think
wait
that
and see on that.
you hit an important point is that nobody respects Donald Trump. As much as he will stand up there and tell you that everybody respects him, the only guys that respect Donald Trump are the egomaniacs like he is, the
And six
wannabe
out of and six out
dictators,
of the nine
Putin's
justices.
the North Korean guy and the Hungarian, all of these people who style themselves as as nouveau Mussolinis.
Tough guys, leaders, black shirts.
Yeah, those are the guys that he he respects and that respect him. And thank God there's far and few of them in this world. But people will help them get stronger because for most people they're gonna shut up and go along.
The California Republic, known as the state of California, our flag says California Republic, feeds the nation. If we join with Oregon and Washington, we have the West Coast. Maybe BC wants to get involved. We'll have our own psychographic, a place where not everybody believes the same thing, but where we can agree to the rule of law, and that we don't have a king. We'll be ruled by no king. So I say, for the first time, the California Republic, where I live, I have been a citizen all my life. Haven't always lived here, but I've been a citizen of this Republic of California all my life. We will not be ruled by a king. We will not submit to the rule of this Supreme Court. They're not supreme, they're just a court. They're just a gathering of 9 people. And because 6 of them believe one thing and 3 believe another, they've given Donald Trump a loaded gun and the encouragement to destroy everything that's been built for the last 245 years. Interestingly, we're coming on the 4th of July, Vinny.
Yes,
Parades and fireworks and the renewal of our spirit as a nation. And right in the teeth of that is an elephant fart the size of one you've never seen before. It is a gaseous, obnoxious, poisonous world that we live in, brought to us by the people who call themselves Republicans. And I think we've had just about enough of them. And it frightens the hell out of me that our hopes are pinned on Joe Biden,
well,
because it's not a reality; it's only a hope. Something
therein
between
lies
between now and election day, something big better happen on our side.
therein lies the problem is that we are waiting for this election to come, and right now it seems like we're waiting with Joe Biden as the candidate,
Yep.
and we're in the unusual position of having an incumbent that seems more like a challenger.
Yeah.
It seems that almost that Trump is the incumbent and Biden is challenging him again.
And not very effectively.
And more and more people in this country seem to be believing that debate was so damaging.
Destructive.
I can't think of anything that they could have done that would have been worse than letting him walk out there in that condition.
And that was self inflicted, totally, completely. They had to know the condition he was in. They had to know.
They had to see it. Somebody had to see it.
He's
Somebody
never alone.
had to look at him and said, something's not right here.
The only time he's alone is when he's asleep, and even then, there's somebody watching. They knew.
To let him go on and embarrass himself in front of
51 million.
yeah. How do you who's responsible for that?
That's something that the Biden family discussed at Camp David this weekend as they got together to decide whether Joe was going to go. They decided that he is going to run. They didn't decide on who has to go, what heads have to roll.
Somebody's got to go. Somebody.
It's not ornamental, Vinnie, like in baseball where you got to fire somebody. Somebody's got to go, right? Somebody's got to be DFA'd.
Well, here's the question: do you trust the person who made that decision to be part of the government, which they probably will, because that decision came from high up?
And to keep making decisions, they got to make another decision today and another one tomorrow.
Yeah. What is it that, whether it was Klain or whoever it was,
out you go.
Somebody's got to answer for that, and you got to have a pretty good reason why they let that happen.
That's why the topic raised by Bob Woodward was so interesting to me. He said, we have to know the answer to this question now. It has to be arranged so in some way that the public knows who was responsible, what was really wrong with him, why he was in such bad shape, how is he prepared, what was the week like at Camp David before that? Was he sick? Was he ill? Is this something he goes through every 2 weeks? What the hell is the answer? We deserve an answer. We deserve a real answer to that one.
Yeah, I agree with them, because you have to quell the questions. You have to you have to move on, and you're not going to be able to move on if you don't have some answers. You can't have that many questions unanswered, or that many questions that can be answered with a 15-second video clip.
He did it.
15 seconds, that's all you need. And the press's propensity to show the bad side of Joe Biden, and when I say bad side, I don't mean bad like evil side, but bad like the things that happened to him, and not show it of Trump. To show Trump always as a strong man, as a virile. I don't know. It just Trump goes to the bathroom and it's the lead story on every news channel. Biden could get Putin to step down and it'd be like on page 3
or 6, maybe page 6.
I don't know.
We're in, as they say in the business, we're in deep shit. And we're waiting around looking for the bottom, and we haven't found it yet.
Unless you're a Trump person. If you're a Trump person, you're on top of the world looking down on creation. The only explanation I can find, that's what you're doing.
Did you just quote the Carpenters?
Yes, I did.
Stop that. I'm having a tough enough day as it is.
Had to do it, Michael. I had to do it. I had to quote the Carpenters. Oh.
I thought things were going pretty bad, and then Vinnie quoted the Carpenters.
Yeah, then it totally went off the rails. And by the way,
thanks for making me laugh anyway.
Well, you're welcome. We found no solace in baseball this weekend.
I found a little. 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah. I think the Giants provided some entertainment. if you are a Mariner fan, you
What the hell
found
happened there?
it seems to be what always happens to this club is that they get to a certain place and it falls off the table. Now, who knows?
What happened to your season that fell off the table? Well, that was an accident.
Yeah, and you look around and you see that guys that were here last year or other places this year seem to be
Having fun,
having banner years.
laughing and scratching.
My buddy Kellenick, who was traded to the Braves in the offseason. Now I don't know. I haven't looked at his numbers, but I'm, just off the top of my head, I'm going to tell you that he's hitting 260 or 270. He's probably got 10, 12 knocks. Maybe we'll take a look. Again, another, and he's not the be all end all, but guys that they got rid of, guys that they didn't re-sign. They signed Mitch Haniger, which meant that they couldn't sign one of those other guys that they had here last year that were doing well for them. And of course, they went somewhere else, and everybody seems to be doing. Teo Oscar Hernandez is like an all-star.
Well, Haniger hit 190 for us. He can hit 190 for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think he hit a home run over the weekend, but the question up here is he's done? Did the Mariners make a huge mistake by re-signing him?
And Robbie Ray, in case you want to know, is pitching in Single A. He's on rehabilitation with the San Jose Giants, so he's making.
Oh, progress. That's nice.
He can throw.
That's nice. Well, when you see Robbie, you tell him I said hello, and that
he may actually get to the parent club. We'll see.
We hope that. Well, listen, I hold no ill will against him, except that after the first year he was here, or not even a whole year, after the first 3/4 of a season he was here, it seemed like he forgot how to pitch.
Well, he got really close to a guy named Tommy John, and that turned out to be his problem and his saving. We think he's been saved.
Well, I hope the best for Robbie Ray. I don't think he's a bad guy, and he didn't do anything that anybody else would have done in his position. Take the money. It's just the curse of the Mariners that when they sign somebody and they go out and they pay him big money.
Boy.
That's it. See you later.
It's boomerangs are supposed to come back, but frisbees don't. The Mariners are playing with a frisbee, but they think it's a boomerang.
Cash that check, man. I don't know. I think Mariner fans are getting frustrated. I think non-Mariner fans are getting frustrated. I just think a lot of people are, starting to get frustrated with this team. There's only so many times you can throw fireworks shows at people and that kind of stuff. And it appeased the people. I mean, Pirates have been getting away with it for years.
Donald Trump could stop baseball. Donald Trump could put an end to it. Football, too, for that matter.
Well, he already threatened to stop baseball. I have a recording of him somewhere threatening the Ricketts family. The owners of the Chicago Cubs.
They got in his way. They made him unhappy. Goodbye. Goodbye to baseball and apple pie and mom. We're going to take care of all the moms. We're working on that now. If we take care of the moms, there'll be very few people around who can make apple pie, so that'll be taken care of eventually and peter out. And for baseball, you just pull the plug. Baseball owners won't say a word. They won't say a word. They all support him anyway.
Except they were smart enough, the baseball owners, to several years ago not admit him to their club. If you remember, several years ago, he tried to buy the Yankees.
Yeah. He didn't have any money, but he was trying to buy them anyway.
and was basically told by that club
Ain't gonna happen, Don.
that we don't we'd like to not have you as a member. You're welcome to come to any game you'd like to go to. We'll send you a pair of tickets,
Come to the game. Come to the game. Have a beer.
give you some free hot dogs.
Ooh,
But as
now
far
you
as
got
letting
him.
you into our club, ain't happening.
No.
We know scum when we see it. We are. We know it. Um, Mr. Kellenick has had 223 at bats. He's hitting 278,
Good guess, Vin.
9 home runs, 26 ribbies, 3 stolen bases. Um, he's having a pretty decent year for himself. Better than any year he had here.
He's productive and contributing to a good team, the Atlanta
The
Braves.
Atlanta Braves, yeah, he's one of those guys that you stick him in the right spot, but for whatever reason, he couldn't get it going here. He he's a career his career he's a 219 hitter in his career, so he's hitting 60 points above
His average.
his career batting average.
Wow. Suddenly he can see the ball.
Suddenly it looks like a freaking meatball. Suddenly, must be the warm weather.
Yeah?
He's in Atlanta. In Atlanta, they have warm summers. Um,
And here comes
Now,
Hurricane Beryl is barreling in. Maybe she'll destroy Texas. Would that change the election?
probably not. They cursed Biden out when he was standing there with a check for the money the governor would be there, cursing him out for whatever reason. Um, let's see. This always scares me. He was born in 1999, Michael.
Kellenick?
Makes me feel old.
He's feeling old, though. So there are days when he feels old. That'll make you feel really old. How old are you? Well, I'm older than you, and I'm old enough to know better.
Yeah, unfortunately his numbers, man, have vastly improved with the Braves. And again, I'm of the mind, and you know that I think this is that there are guys that come here and
You just can't.
they just
Coast.
can't do it for whatever reason. They can't perform.
I drive down first. I get depressed. I get down to Old Town. I look around Pioneer Square. I get depressed. I keep going to the ball club. I don't know if I'm going to the football stadium or the baseball stadium. I can never remember which is which. That depresses me. I live in Bellevue. That's depressing. I have to go across the bridge. I get depressed. Then I go home, same way, in reverse. More depression.
Impressive.
I can't hit. I can't think. I can't. I don't know what to say, but I love it when we go on the road. We go to Milwaukee and I feel better. We go to Atlanta, I feel better. We go to New York, I feel so much better. We
Yeah,
always
I
come
mean it's
home.
really shocking sometimes how players come here and they just
Fade away.
yeah, they just seem to lose whatever they had. I don't know the reason of it. I feel like I should be devoting my life to finding out why. But it's
You should write a book called "Don't Come Here."
don't come here. Seattle is the last stop, and don't come here. You know it's going to happen. So yeah, so the Mariners drop 2 out of 3 to the Twins, right? And I'm just interested now. It's July 1st. The June swoon is over for the Giants. They can get out of that. But, so you start a new month. And boy, oh boy.
In baseball, that's a bad thing. Boy, oh boy.
Boy, oh boy. Yeah, it's worse than my oh my.
What did Scott Silvers just say in the dugout? He said, boy, oh boy. Oh, no, he didn't say that. Yep, he said, boy,
Yeah,
oh boy.
oh, by the way, the Baltimore Orioles are coming to town with, I believe, the second best record in baseball.
Behind the Dodgers.
Yeah, the Dodgers. Well, no, actually, I think the best record is the Phillies. They got 55 wins. They're 55-29. The Phillies. The Dodgers are 52-33, which gives them a 612 winning average. What was the point of? I was trying to make the point that when we spoke sometime last week, if I'm not mistaken, weren't the Mariners 10 games ahead?
They were having fun. They were laughing and scratching.
Well,
one or the other.
Their lead in the division is down to 3.5 games.
That'll happen when you lose baseball.
And again, it's early. So let's not get.
It's late to say it's early
about ourselves, but it's not that early anymore. July 1st turns the page on it's early to what do we got here?
To boy, oh boy.
Because the next, 30 days, 28 days, you have to figure out what your team is going to do.
And so many teams in baseball right now don't know what their team is going to do for the next 30 days. They have a pretty good idea, especially if they can't play 500 ball.
Yeah. You have a team that, or many teams actually, that have to try to figure out what do we do? Do we add something because we think we can make it?
Do we sell something for the profit?
We get rid of something because we think we can make it? Do we sell something because we think we can make it next year? Do we hang on? There's a lot of what do we do's here. And there's a lot of teams that still think that they're in this thing, that they're in the mix.
And you got to have a plan. So if you get to this point of the season and you can't play 500 ball or you've lost your 10-game lead, you have to have a plan that says, here's what we're going to do to recover financially or otherwise.
Well, I guess you have to have a plan, Michael. Do you really have to have a plan?
You have to have a plan if you're in the front office. You have to be willing to say, plan A, plan B, plan C, based on what we've suffered or enjoyed this far in the season.
I mean, right now, Major League Baseball is trying to get to the All-Star game, which will be in beautiful Texas this year. And I've become, it's amazing to think that I've become disinterested in the All-Star game.
Well, just the home run, the rules for the home run challenge are so ridiculous. They change them every year. I have no idea what they're talking about. They printed the rules on ESPN.com, and I read them, and it made no sense to me.
Yeah, I'm.
You get 27 pitches. What is that? Not 30, not 25. You get 27 pitches. What?
Well, I guess that corresponds to the number of outs in a game, right?
Yeah, theoretically.
So maybe that's. Do
you want guys to hit home runs, or you just want it to go as fast? They said that the contest was done in such a hurry that the home run hitters were exhausted by the end of it and couldn't hit a home run in the game.
Well, and many people think that that's why Griffey used to go belly up for a week or two after he'd go to the All-Star game.
He was exhausted.
Well, he would go and he would change his approach to hit home runs. Every pitch a home run. He's not trying to get a base hit. He's trying to get a home run every pitch.
Right. I
And
know.
so he changes his approach, and now he's hacking away at everything because they want him to hit home runs. The home run derby should be just as it was. I was watching film of the old home run derby the other night.
With
I was
Mickey Mantle and
watching
Willie Mays.
Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays
Yeah.
from Gilmore. Is it Gilmore Field?
Right now where CBS Television City is.
Yeah, Gilmore Field.
Home of the Hollywood stars.
Yep. And it was fine. It looked like it was done in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
The fronds on the palm trees were light. Sounds like a code of some kind, doesn't it? The
Supreme Court's
fronds
putting
on the palm trees were light.
Supreme Court's putting it into the fronds on palm trees. That's it. Rule of law. If you have a palm tree and it's got fronds, you're in violation.
You don't think somebody's going to file a frond of the court?
Good one, Vin. That's a good one.
A frond of the court brief, an amicus? I try, Michael. I don't always hit, but I try. So as we roll into July, oh man, there's not a lot of reason to believe that any of our teams are gonna do much of anything. I mean, maybe the Giants 41-44, they're 11 games back in the division of the Dodgers.
The shot heard around the world. We don't have a Bobby Thompson. We don't have the short left field fence. We don't have the guys who can hit home runs. I think our leading home run hitter's got 9 or 11 or something.
And you know what? And now you don't have Orlando Cepeda.
I miss him so much. I loved Orlando Cepeda.
I did
When he came up, I was a kid. He was a rookie of the year in 1958. He was a right-handed first baseman. He was the baby bull. He was a home run hitter. He was spectacular. And Alvin Dark got rid of him because he spoke Spanish in the clubhouse.
Well, Alvin Dark was
It was a putz.
was a whole thing unto himself.
He missed his shot in life. He should have been on the Supreme Court with that mind.
Or at least he should have been in the Klan. Or maybe he was in the Klan. Who knows?
Or both. Don't you think the Klan should be represented on the Supreme Court? They do.
Yeah, why not? Amazing.
Well, last week you signed off on Friday saying don't watch TV. I didn't take your advice. I'm gonna have to watch more today. But aside from the baseball that we've touched on, the real world that we're living in is getting grimmer by the day, and I don't know what's going to turn it around, because if Trump wins, we're on a nosedive, out of control. Our biplane has lost its lift, and that's what I see coming. I hate to be depressing or depress myself. I'd much rather be a sunny morning man with a snarky attitude.
Yeah, but you got to face reality. You know, I mean, reality sucks, but you can't escape it. And the reality of the situation is that we're in a jam here as a country. We've told an individual that they can do what they want,
and it's our problem. And he can do what he wants, but we're in the pickle.
Right. He can do what he wants, or she, but really this is a ruling that's tailored toward Trump. Totally. Because you really didn't need a ruling like this before him. Even Nixon didn't go this far.
He got into his helicopter and flew away.
He was smart enough to know it's time to go.
You know, Vinnie, I think it's time for me to go. Just for today. I can't take this any longer.
Well, Michael, I understand where you're coming from. I really do.
I love being with you, but I'm done for today, I think.
Yeah, I think we need to relax, regroup, read up,
Should we
and
gather for a wacky
be
Wednesday?
back
God
here
knows
on Wednesday.
how wacky could a Wednesday be if this morose Monday is any indication.
I refrain from asking questions like that
Good boy. You'll
because
last as long as God's service.
somebody once said, "How bad could it be?"
And he found out.
And they found out. And I don't want to be the guy to find out. I
I
don't
love
want
you.
to.
I love you, Vinny. See you soon.
Mikey, peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby. See you
Water
Wednesday.
lines. See ya.
All right. There goes Mikey, and here goes me. Again, we'll get back together on Wednesday, and I think that we all need to read up a little more on this decision that came down from the Supreme Court this morning, and go from there. I don't know where it's going to lead us, but first blush is not any place good. All right, that's going to do it. We'll catch up with you on Wednesday if the Lord's willing. The creek don't rise. Have a good beginning of the week, and don't give up hope. There's hope somewhere. We just have to find her. Have a good one. Take care. Bye bye.